Session number 5 in Flash and motion graphics will be about conversations, and this is something that people tend to do in little animated movies. They'll have a couple of characters that have a conversation with each other, but when you're first getting used to this, you kind of run into some dangers that I want you to know about. Let's take a look at a couple of examples here. I have a movie loaded up here, and I'm going to run this movie. Now, obviously, the problem with this movie is this conversation that these two characters are having happens way too fast. And that's really what today is all about. I want you to create a conversation between two characters, and it can't go too fast. You got to be able to read it. You got to be able to understand what the characters are saying. All right. And I'm going to show you in this movie about how to work with the timing of all that. There's several ways to do it. And your conversation that you make today doesn't have to be anything dramatic. It could just be like, hi, hello, how are you? I'm fine, see you later, bye. You know, it can be something very simple, but you have to have a conversation. Now let me show you another example here. Here's the exact two same characters, exact same conversation, but I think you're going to be able to read it. Dude, you got Up Doc on your shoulder. What's up, Doc? Who do you think you are, Bugs Bunny? Hilarious. Really? No. Oh, and the little smack in the eye at the end is just a little extra that I decided that I wanted to add. Just being hilariously funny again, like always. Yeah, whatever. All right, so your assignment today is to create a conversation between two characters, and each character has to say 3 things. And again, if it's just hi, hello, how are you? I'm good. See you later. Bye. That's good enough, but it's mostly about the timing. So let me close these out here, get rid of these sample movies, and I'm going to start a new movie. And I'm going to go up to the right-hand side and do Fit in Window to zoom up just to fill my workspace. And I'll go ahead and change my background color to kind of a tannish color. All right, good enough. Now I need my characters in here, and again, they don't have to be anything fancy. It's really a little bit up to you. I'll take a paintbrush with black paint, and I've got a big enough brush. And you don't have to do any extra animation, really. You know, you just need some characters here, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make one character right there, and I'll make another character right here. Now you could do things like add eyes and things like that, but don't have to if you don't want to. All right, so it's time for these guys to have a little conversation. Now one thing I'm going to do as I make this conversation today, I'm going to use the text tool to do it. And you could use, if you're careful enough, you could use a paintbrush and paint on the words, but you got to make it readable. But I'm going to use the type tool here to do this, and I'm going to do it a very quick and simple way. There are other ways you could do this, but I'll just use the type tool. And when I come over here to the properties panel, when you click the type tool, you'll see that you have a choice here of fonts. All right, there are several fonts here that you can use, and I'm working on a Mac again, so your fonts might look a little bit different when you're working with a Windows computer, but that's up to you. So I'll just do like an Arial font, and maybe I'll make it bold, and there's sizes here and there's colors here, so maybe I'll make this like size 18, and black is good enough. So I think I'm ready to go here. I've got Arial bold 18. Okay, good. So I'll just, what I usually do is just click once, and I think it's going to be set this way, but on the properties panel here, you want classic text, not TLF. I think it's automatically going to be set that way, but you might want to check. All right, so I'm just going to click once right here and say, dude, you've got Up Doc. And you can press enter on your, if you want to, on your shoulder. All right, then I'm going to switch to the black arrow tool, and I can move that around, and I can still size that if I want to. If I go back over here to the properties panel, if I feel like it's too big, I can change that 18 point to something else if I want, or I could even use that transform tool that we talked about in the last movie. I could use that to size it if I wanted to, but I think it looks okay. Now as far as like a talk bubble or anything like that goes, you could draw that in if you want to, but I'm not going to go to that much effort. You could even just do this, draw a line, use the line tool, make a line kind of like that, and do a talk bubble kind of thing that way. But again, totally your call. You don't have to do that. So I'm going to do Control Z and take those off. And what I want is I want these words to appear close to this guy so that we kind of know he's saying them. Now here's the whole key to making text and making a conversation stay on the screen the way you want. Look down on the timeline here. And you can do it a couple of ways. You can press F6 several times. You can press F6 a whole bunch. Or you can think, okay, it's 24 frames per second. And if I want that to stay on there for, I don't know, 2 seconds or something like that, or I could go up, I'll just go up to about frame 50 and I'll just press F6. See, what I did was just jump ahead and press F6 there. In fact, I'll press F6 a couple of times. Okay? So when I press enter, I know that that's going to stay there for around 2 seconds. Actually, it's a little bit more than 2 seconds, but that's good enough. It's 24 frames per second, and if you look carefully right down here at this little status line across the bottom, it tells you this is 2.1 seconds right now elapsed time. All right, well, if that's been on there long enough, I take the black arrow tool and I just select that text box right there and just touch the delete key on the keyboard and delete it. Okay, now it's this guy's turn over here, so I take my type tool again and he's going to say, "What's up, Doc?" And I'll use the black arrow tool to just kind of position that where I want it, put it right by him. Now it's going to be the same kind of thing. I want that to stay there a little bit. It's not a ton of text. The more text you have, the longer it needs to stay for it to be read. So I'll jump ahead. 50 frames is really close to being 2 seconds. So if I jump up here to frame 105 or so, that's pretty close, and I'll press F6 right there. And in fact, it's not a bad idea to press F6 a couple of times. I did it like 3 times. All right, if I run that movie now, dude, you got Up Doc on your shoulder. What's up, Doc? By the way, you can use this joke at lunch today to say to somebody, hey, you got Up Doc on your shoulder. They say, what's up, Doc? And you say, you sound like Bugs Bunny. Or you don't have to do that. All right, now here I'll take the black arrow and I'll just delete that. Okay, and then I'll go back over here to the type tool again, and it's this guy's turn. And I'll say, you sound like Bugs. Bugs Bunny. And I'll just kind of move that around, put that right there by him. And again, it's going to be the same kind of thing. Jump forward on the timeline a little bit. If I want that to stay, I got to jump forward a little bit. And I'm roughly using 50 frames. It doesn't have to be exact because it's not a ton of text. All right, so I'll go up to about frame 155, press F6 2 or 3 times here. All right, that just kind of marks that spot on the timeline. And then I can take my black arrow, and I don't want to, I don't want to hit the delete key when everything is selected here necessarily. I'm going to deselect and then just select this one text box and delete that. Okay, now it's back to this guy. All right, so let's finish this up, and he's going to say very funny, and I'll use my black arrow to position that just a little bit, and again jump forward on the timeline. I'll go to about frame 210 or so, press F6 a couple of times right there. And then I'll use the black arrow to take that text right there and delete that. And remember, the assignment is each character's got to say 3 things. And so far, there's one for him, one for him, and then one for him, one for him. All right, so they're up to 2 each. All right, so I got 1 more to go. And so he's just going to say, really? You think I'm funny? Nobody thinks I'm funny. Do you think I'm funny? And I'll jump forward on the timeline and press F6 a couple of times there. I'll take my black arrow and get rid of that text. And then I'm coming down the home stretch here. It's the last guy. No, dude. Don't quit. Oops, don't have to capitalize that. Your day job. In fact, let me back that up a little bit. Press enter there and go your day job, period. All right, and I'll just move that. And again, I want that text to stay on a little bit too, so I'm going to jump forward on the timeline, press F6 a couple of times there. Now, I'm not in this movie. I'm not adding any extra real animation there. You saw in my sample movie, I had the one guy smack the other guy in the eye and all that kind of stuff. Well, that's just extra stuff. All right, so let's check all that out. Dude, you've got Up Doc on your shoulder. What's up, Doc? You sound like Bugs Bunny. Very funny. Really? No, dude. Don't quit your day job. Now, at the very end of the movie, if this is going to be the end of my movie, I could get rid of that in that very last frame there if I wanted to, and I could hit F6 a few more times so they're just standing there by themselves, and it would end like this. Really? No, dude, don't quit your day job, and that text disappears at the end. Those little details are kind of up to you. But really, the assignment today is about getting some timing right. All right, I want you to create a conversation where the characters each say 3 things, even if it's just something quick and easy. But the timing has to be the factor here. I got to be able to read it. It can't go so fast that it can't be read. All right, and that's really what we're working on today. All right, when you get this done, you would go to File, you would go to Save As, you would get to your network drive on Drive H, and just call it Chat. That's maybe a good name for it, Chat. All right, it's easy, quick, short, easy to remember. Or you could call it Talk. That would be fine too. Or you could call it Conversation, but that's longer. All right, and once you save that, you'd have to drag it and drop it into your turn in folder. And it's, again, just like a 20-pointer, just a quick and easy. Okay, it's your turn. Create a conversation.